Welcome to the Jellen Show. Here's your host, Jellen DeGeneres.
Hey there folks, today we're going to speak about DNA replication. So ever since Watson and Crick discovered the famous double helix in 1953, it has been the face of all genetics. So today we are here to recognize the 5 forgotten heroes that make DNA replication possible. So let's welcome our guests. We have helicase, SSB proteins, DNA polymerase, RNA primase, and last but not least, ligase. So helicase, tell us why your job is so important to DNA replication.
Well, I actually separate the DNA strands by breaking apart the hydrogen bonds. This creates a replication fork.
Wow, it sounds like you really start out the process, am I right? Now let's move on to our next guest, SSB proteins. So what do you do in DNA replication?
After helicase separates the strands of DNA, I cut both strands to prevent the 2 strands from reconnecting.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Next on the list is DNA polymerase. So polymerase, what do you do?
Well, I move along the strand in the 5' to 3' direction, and while removing the SSB proteins, I add a nitrogenous base to the current base.
So, DNA polymerase, what do you mean when you say that you travel in the 5' to 3' direction?
Well, you see, Jellen, the 2 strands of DNA are anti-parallel. This means that each strand is traveling in the opposite direction. So one strand travels 5' to 3', which is the leading strand, and the other travels 3' to 5', which is the lagging strand. The way that the strand travels is based off of the direction that the sugar on the backbone faces.
Well, thank you for your time, DNA polymerase. Next up is primase.
I lay down the primers, which starts off DNA polymerase, as it adds bases to the strand.
Okay, sounds great. Now let's move on to the last piece of the puzzle, ligase. Well, I have the simple job of connecting fragments within the DNA strand. Wow, so you guys really seem to play a big role in DNA replication. And your teamwork is really what allows DNA to be passed from generation to generation. I'm impressed.
This is wishing you good night from the Jellen DeGeneres Show.